Well, they call it a patchwork economy, and today the evidence was there for all to see. Nationally, the unemployment rate fell, while the number of jobs has grown by more than 45,000. But in some sectors of the economy, the bad news keeps coming. Today, it was a turn of Qantas, with the airline slicing more than 500 people from its workforce, with the likelihood of many more to come. Hamish Fitzsimmons reports.
Alan Joyce flew into a storm as he announced Qantas's profit was down $42 million and that there's more rough weather ahead.
We anticipate that there will be 500 positions affected by the immediate changes that we have announced today. But let me clarify that there will be no jobs going offshore.
Mr Joyce says Qantas can't justify having 3 heavy maintenance facilities at Brisbane and at Tullamarine and Avalon airports near Melbourne. It means hundreds of engineering and maintenance jobs will go.
The work has simply disappeared because of this new aircraft technology. It means we have to do less maintenance, less often. Same way you have to do less maintenance, less often on your home car. That's what's happened with aircraft technology.
Last August, the airline announced a major restructure that would see 1,000 jobs outsourced or lost. In October, ongoing industrial action saw Alan Joyce take the radical step of grounding the airline for 36 hours. Qantas blames this for the downgraded profit, but others are still furious.
It shows extraordinary gall on the part of Alan Joyce that he unilaterally grounds the airline, costs it $194 million, and as a consequence, he ends up with a $2 million bonus, yet 500 Australians have lost their job.
This time, unions are stopping short of confronting Qantas. Their focus is on finding work for members.
If it means that state governments, federal governments and the company working together to try and get what would be known as third-party work or even RAF work in there to minimise that, yep, I think we should be looking at all those avenues.
Even strident critics of Qantas, like the Engineers Union, is hoping the spirit of cooperation prevails.
But it is a process that we as a union look forward to, that is sitting down with Qantas and their accountants and highlighting why these facilities are already the most efficient in the world.
Qantas says it'll spend the next 60 days consulting with unions about the planned redundancies, but there's growing concern about the number of manufacturing jobs leaving the country, particularly here in Victoria. Victoria's Premier says he doesn't want to start a bidding war with other states over who keeps Qantas jobs, but he's already making his case.
We've got a strong commitment to aviation. We don't have curfews here. We have a very good track record of maintenance facilities.
Ted Baillieu will hold further talks with Qantas, but there'll be more bad news when the airline completes reviews of other operations.
We expect there to be further jobs affected by those reviews, and it'd be premature for me to actually say what we believe the total number will be.
Despite this, unions claim they're positive about Australia's million-strong manufacturing sector.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great year with the announcements we've seen with Toyota, Holden and Alcoa, and not a good announcement today from Qantas. But we believe that manufacturing still has a bright future in this country.
Formal talks between the airline and unions will begin next week. Hamish Fitzsimmons, Lateline.
Well, it's slashed 500 jobs, but Qantas has also dropped its dividend for the 3rd straight year. CEO Alan Joyce announced a plunge in profits of 83% in the second half of 2011 to just $42 million. But the airline's share price surged more than 6% as investors gave the thumbs up to deep spending cuts.
It was another traumatic profit result from Qantas.
The results highlights the unique challenges we face during the period, with a $198 million negative impact as a result of the industrial action that happened in that period. And also with jet fuel costs up by a massive $444 million during that half alone.
It contributed to an 83% slump in half-year profit to $42 million. And with that, Qantas is cutting just over 500 jobs, mainly engineers and cabin crew. More job cuts will follow after a 2-month review, which includes consideration of shrinking the heavy maintenance facilities hitting Melbourne, Brisbane or Avalon in Victoria. The carrier points to the reduced maintenance needs of newer aircraft and rising costs.
Today, Qantas engineering service costs are at least 30% higher than those of our competitors. And we have the ability to change.
In an olive branch to unions, the Qantas chief pledged to give them their say before any decisions were made.
Now, at least this time, we're going to be able to have a look through the figures with them. And look, if it's a genuine impossibility to keep the facilities open here, well, we'll accept that, but we don't believe that'll be the case.
Investors weren't complaining. The share price picked up 6%.
Passenger revenue and also revenue across the business was up. Jetstar continues to be a solid performer, as does the frequent flyer program. Also, the benefits that seem to be coming from their cost-cutting measures that they've been implementing has also been another positive and have been having some good impact on the bottom line.
Amid the job cuts, there was one promise which might give some comfort to the unions.
But let me clarify that there will be no jobs going offshore, not one.
But some analysts say that's a foolish promise to make.
I think with the high Australian dollar, there's not a lot of flexibility or movement domestically in terms of their cost structure. So they have to look at their options offshore, otherwise to just withdraw from the business.
That wasn't part of the thinking for Alan Joyce.
Our outlook is extremely positive. The majority of our businesses are performing strongly. The new measures I have announced will move us structurally towards a more sustainable enterprise in the future.
The company, with its own admission by not providing a profit guidance, citing uncertain economic conditions, rising fuel prices, and of course increased competition across the board, restricting it from providing any guidance, is pretty much it. They're walking a pretty fine tightrope at the moment.
Something the Qantas chief Alan Joyce is well used to.